Hi, I'm Dom.
And I'm Ash.
We're 2/3 of Kicking Out at 3. Now, this is a much more serious video than we ever thought we'd have to make.
I never wanted to make this video.
No, it's just, right. Now, any of you who know us and know what we do, you'll know that we are generally quite heartless bastards that just take the piss out of anything and everything.
We're basically Satan.
Pretty much. But, with that being said, there are some things that are far more important than any joke we could ever possibly make. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, Alberto El Patron, formerly known as Alberto Del Rio, is married to Soraya Knight, better known as Paige. Now, their relationship's been quite rocky as of late. Well, we don't even know how long, to be quite honest. There's been a lot of things come out.
I assume this has been...
It's been a long time.
I feel like this has been going on since the videos have been released.
Yeah. Now...
Well, leaked. Not released.
Well, no,
leaked.
Recently, TMZ leaked some audio footage of an altercation between the two in an airport bar in which Paige was heard saying stuff along the lines of, "I'm trying to get away from you, you're such an abusive husband," which were aimed at El Patron.
I've not listened to this footage yet. Part of me can't bring myself to hear it, because then you know it's potentially true. At this point, it's rumours and allegations, which
it is. Yeah, we
which
just
is
want to
what-
point that
yeah.
out. It's strictly allegations at the minute. Nothing is concrete.
Like,
nothing set in stone.
we are not here saying that Alberto El Patron is an abuser. We're not.
However, we
Having said that,
do need to address this situation because if it does turn out to be true, this is something that has, in very different ways, affected myself and Ash. So we need to talk about it, and what you're about to hear is a segment from episode 21 of Kicking Out 3, which you can check out in the description below on Mixcloud, in which we are basically going to explain both our sides of the story for the situation.
Well, it's less our side of the story and more our experience, isn't it?
Yeah, and if you're going to take this video as anything, take it as... Well, in fact, better yet, don't take it as Kicking Out at 3 addressing the Paige situation. Take it as just Dom Sweeney and Ash Quilter directly addressing Paige and playing with her.
Not just Paige.
Just save
anybody
yourself.
else.
Anyone else in
through
the situation.
a similar situation.
Just, no matter what the cost, get yourself out, save yourself. I mean, that's probably about as serious as we're going to get on this channel. We will do more funny shit soon, I promise you that. However, once again, there are some things that are more important than any joke we could make. So, we hope you enjoyed. We hope this can help you in some way. Please like, subscribe, and make sure you share this around because this is probably the most important video we'll make.
Most likely, unless it was.
Alright.
Hopefully the story gets cleared up soon, and
I wish Paige and the entire Knight family well. Thank you for watching. See you in a bit. Anyway. Next hot topic. Now, this is something that we never intended to talk about.
Oh, fucking hell already.
No, this is something we
This
never...
is where we become human. What the
Yeah,
fuck? Why
no.
do we have to do this?
No, we openly admit we've poked a lot of fun at Paige for a certain thing in the past. You know, and we own it.
At the same time,
We own it.
we never wished that on Paige.
Yeah, we even said it was like we felt sorry for her, but it was just the same thing. It was just satire for us. It was just a joke at the expense of
Because we
someone
never mean
else.
any of this.
That's the thing. This is something people don't understand. This is basically the point where we humanise ourselves, minus Leaford.
Wow.
No, I'm not saying...
Leaford
I'm
can't
not
talk
saying
for
that,
himself, but trust me, Leaford...
Yeah, Leaford's not here right now, but I don't know. Would Leaford agree? I think he probably would.
Leaford would agree.
Oh, damn, yeah. But we will stand by what I'm about to say. As much as we joke, and as much as, you know, in kayfabe, so to speak, we are heartless bastards that take the piss out of just about anything. There are some things that are far more important than any joke we could ever make or have. Now, everyone knows, it's been well documented, that Paige and Alberto Del Rio's / El Patron's relationship. Now, they were married this year.
On a side note, this relationship always seemed a bit...
It seemed quite dodgy.
I mean, I just didn't get it at all. I've never got it. Not once gone.
There's always been something fishy there. You know when you just get a gut feeling about something.
Like, this isn't going to end well.
This isn't going to end well. Now, what we're about to take you through, just to give you some context, is so far completely alleged.
It's, complete, not rumour, but it's hearsay,
there
shall we
was
say.
some footage leaked on TMZ.
No, at the same time, it's TMZ. They're basically the American version of The Sun, if you don't know who TMZ
They're
are.
not. The Sun are a lot worse.
Yes, but you know what I mean?
TMZ is just an online... they're just like an online dirt sheet, pretty much. But anyway, a witness who obviously has remained unnamed recorded some audio of Paige and Del Rio in an airport. And... there's no other way to put it. It was fucked.
Vile.
It was fucked. Now, the woman got pulled up for allegedly trying to sneak and take pictures of Paige and Del Rio, which, from the offset, I mean, yeah, granted, I can understand why anyone would get pissed off with that.
You should not do that.
Without the consent. You shouldn't do that. With that being said, if it could potentially lead to a potentially vile human being coming to justice and saving the life of another, then I'm all for it.
Oh, 100%.
But anyway, back to what it is. Now, this is from All Wrestling News, and this was taken from Heavy.com. Heavy.com. Now, this is the witness's description of the events that transpired. Now, first and foremost, because it was a female, you can hear that on the audio track, which we will not play.
I don't want to hear that again. I didn't want to hear it in the first place. No, honestly,
I know you didn't, but I think to truly give you some context, I think you probably needed to. But I mean, if you can go and find it yourselves. We're not going to distribute that track, but it makes for pretty disturbing listening, to be quite honest. If you've ever been affected by a situation even remotely similar, I think anyone could agree with that. And again, Ash didn't even want to watch it, but I think he probably needed to, just to give him some context of how bad a situation we could be facing.
Yeah.
But anyway, the witness, she admitted to discreetly attempting to take pictures of Paige as she was walking out of a restaurant and was talking on the phone until Paige noticed this woman taking pictures. She went back into the restaurant, and one of the 4 people at her table, I don't know if that's 4 including Paige or 4 as well as Paige, but anyway, that's not important. One of the 4 people then walked out, presumably to see if this woman was still there. Now, Paige then came storming back out, and we just want to point out, this is an eyewitness account. She came storming back out of the restaurant, crying and yelling. And we had Del Rio, who was visibly soaked in liquid, chased after her as she tried to flee onto a nearby tram system. Paige told Del Rio, "You're such an abusive husband. I hate you. You've ruined my life, and you've ruined my career." Del Rio and Paige continued their argument for a short while on the tram car. As Del Rio said, "Oh God, this is fucking horrible. Check her bag. She's got all the coke in it. It's all hers." This is when the witness started to record the audio. Now, from the outset, the audio goes... the first thing you hear is Del Rio saying, "She assaulted me. Let's do it. Let's call the cops." Del Rio can be heard saying that. And Paige simply responds by saying, "Just stay out of my life. Leave me the fuck alone. I'm trying to get away from you." Del Rio then it almost seems like a bit of a blackmail response by saying, I'll press charges, and this is the thing that really got me. Paige was then recorded saying, press charges if you want, I don't care as long as it gets me away from you. Now that right there, there's a problem. Whether or not any of the forthcoming things that we're also about to divulge to you are true, that right there, something's completely fucking wrong here. For someone to even accept the prospect of having charges pressed against them and accepting a potential prison sentence just to get away from an allegedly abusive partner, that is just, I'm sorry, but that's beyond words. That is absolutely despicable. There's no excuse for that whatsoever. And I mean, the reason that we wanted to talk about this today is because in very different ways, because it's only the two of us today, it's affected both of us. Very similar issues have affected both of us in very different ways, which we will get onto later on. But anyway, from what people can gather, especially this witness, Del Rio said to Paige something like, I hope your fucking uncle dies tomorrow. Now, Paige's uncle, she posted this on social media a number of times regarding her uncle, who is critically ill. I think that's probably the best way to put it. We don't know what with. Obviously, that's not our hill to die on to find out. But the thing is here, for then Del Rio to wish death upon this girl's uncle, who you can tell she's quite close to, that alone is just fucking disgusting. And it was... I'm already at a loss for words, and I'm not even finished yet. And you had Paige's brother Roy Bevis, put on his own personal Facebook account. He put a status out. Now, this is where our previous jokes kind of blend into this. He put, I have to say, I mean, admittedly the grammar's kind of bad, but that's not important. I've got to say I'm very worried about my sister. Please keep an eye on her. She had one prick known as Brad Maddox who took advantage of an 18-year-old girl, physically and mentally abused her. And now she's with a control freak who thinks he's a tough guy because he beats my sister and has the money to cover his tracks. I love my sister, but I'm worried that she'll end up like Whitney Houston or Amy Winehouse. Please share this. I want the world to know that I care about my little sister. Everyone keep an eye on her. She'll be angry at me for writing this, but I love you. And I'm writing this on behalf of all the Knights. That's from her brother, who later went on to say, we got pics from the last 6 months of bruises from the beatings he allegedly gave her. Now, Paige, upon the release of this audio, then went on to try and defend Del Rio by citing the reason for the incident. I think it was an airport, and she even said it was because of the woman trying to take pictures, and then wrote a separate tweet saying, "Leave us both alone." Now that, to me, seems like fear, because I've seen this before. Now, we both have stories to tell regarding this. So, I don't know, Ash, if you want to go first?
Nah, you can go first.
You sure?
Yeah, ready yet.
Now, something like this hasn't happened to me personally, but it happened to a very, very close friend of mine. I will not name her, but if she's listening to this, she will know exactly who I'm on about, and she'll know I'm talking about her. Now, the very foundation of our friendship is the fact that we met in a club, just drunk one night, and we got on really well. But then I saw her at college, and we just again got on well. But then I saw this. I didn't know her. I just knew her. I knew her on a first name basis. That was as far as it went. But I saw her just out of nowhere break down in a flood of tears. Now, instinctively, I just went over. I gave her a hug, and I just wanted to help. Probably just a whole friendly stranger offering out a help kind of thing, which is pretty much what this is going to be. Two friendly strangers, well, now friendly strangers trying to help. Now, I immediately inquired, like, what was wrong, and she was reluctant, but told me, and I was absolutely disgusted. Now, the reason I knew something was seriously wrong because I'd seen the same look on my own face before, but I wanted to help, and she told me, and then this kept going and going, and I remember immediately saying from the outset, you need to leave this guy. He's abusing you. And for the most part, she would sort of say, yeah, I know he's not good for me, but the problem was, she was far too frightened and sometimes stubborn to actually do it and do what was best for her, because the thing is, this guy, he had a reputation for it, but he poisoned her mind, and it was very much a case, you hear it all the time, certain lads basically telling girls that they're not good enough, that they'll never be good enough, basically just insulting them, making them feel like no more than shit on the bottom of someone's shoe. And this went on continuously for months on end, and it'd been going on for months before I even knew her. So she tried multiple times to get away from him, but he always managed to rope himself back in with lies and blackmail at times. And it was heartbreaking to see, because it'd be a daily occurrence that I would see my friend bawling out in tears and sometimes talking about suicide. And I'm saying sometimes euphemistically, because it was more than that. But a lot of it was down to her own, some of it was down to her own stubbornness, but the majority of it was down to her own fear of what this guy might do. And believe me, there was a lot of people almost waiting in line to pretty much kick the shit out of this guy for what he'd done to her. And he knew that, but for whatever reason, still remained invincible in that aspect. Now, she eventually managed to get away, but by that time, and then multiple times afterwards, she ended up in hospital as a result of substance abuse, overdoses included, and she nearly died a couple of times. She would tell me multiple times that she just wanted to end it all. And she very, very nearly succeeded. Recently, a few months removed from this guy finally becoming obsolete, I know that is not a joke, becoming obsolete from her life, he is now pretty much he's still, to this day, still trying to beg for another, quote, chance. I just take that as a chance to fucking abuse her some more. But she's a lot happier now, as everyone knew she would be, and she has recently got into another relationship, and she told me about it, and immediately I was worried, because I remembered exactly what the other guy did. But just a couple of months before, on my 20th birthday, she came along. She came out to Birmingham with all my pals. And one thing she said to me, because it was the first time we'd seen each other in probably 7 or 8 months because of uni. But the entire night, she couldn't stop saying thank you for everything I'd done, all the advice I'd given, and one thing that resonated with me is how much that she pushed the fact that she wishes that she had listened to me a lot sooner, because anything like this would leave a lasting mark on the strongest of people. But it left even more of a mark on her because of how long it went on and how many times it happened. Like, again, she nearly died. That's the damning aspect of this thing. She nearly died because of this guy. And the thing is, I actually saw this guy when I was walking. I was just going home one day, and I actually saw him come out of New Street Station. Now, I can't even begin to truly express just how much I wanted to grab this guy by the throat and choke the life out of him. And that's not me being stupid. Like, this guy, I just thought, you fucking deserve it if I do it. However, the only thing that kept me from doing it is the fact that if he was to go, he would never serve true justice, because the living certainly aren't done with him yet. And that is what people like him deserve. They deserve to have everything taken away from them, just like they have taken everything away from their partner who they continuously abuse. And whatever the hell they think gives them the right to do this kind of thing, it's beyond delusional. It's an outright disgrace. So I'm going to pass over to Ash now before I finish this segment up. His story's a lot different to mine, but it relates all the same. You ready, mate?
I don't know how to start this. I don't, because you know who I am, and you know that while I've told you and a couple of people about it before, I did it I said in a passing comment, like, oh yeah, she's hit me again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She seemed like she was joking around, but yeah, she hit me.
Wasn't.
It fucking hurt.
And it was in public a lot.
Twice in public. One that I'm never going to forget.
Well, I was there for one of them.
But I've never called it abuse because I won't let myself admit that. Because it makes me seem like a weaker person. Like, I never stood up for myself. Shit, man, when did it start? When did I meet her? November?
This was around mid-November.
So this went on for about November till
April.
Yeah, April. And I was never with this girl. But I tried my fucking hardest. Like, before we start, like, I can't get the words out. Like, I've never pretended to be something that I'm not. I know for a fact that I'm not the strongest person. But in that 4-5 month period, I was the weakest I've ever been. I couldn't talk to anyone properly because just everybody saw me different. So when was the first time? It was about December time. Because I came to you, Martha and Nathan, straight away. And I went, yeah, she's hit me. And you were like, no, she fucking hasn't, she wouldn't do that. And then Martha told me, because she was on the phone, this girl was on the phone with Martha at the time.
Mm.
She didn't realise that she was still on the phone when she hit me. So Martha heard everything. The full fucking contact.
So we had evidence.
And it was...
And the sound was indistinguishable from how Martha described it.
And I should really have sacked her off then, because... Well, why wouldn't you? But I said this to you like from the beginning. Before I got to uni, I just wasn't a happy person. Like, don't know what it was. I just didn't really get on with anyone. And then she was she was the first person that just made me smile for a while. Like, I was happy being around her, even though we were never together, and I never knew it was never going to happen.
She instilled the illusion pretty much from the off that she was something that she really isn't. Because as it turned out, she uses a lot of people we've seen, we've had people on the show in the past who, obviously not to anything near this extent, but she has used. But all the same, she instilled it in people's heads. She tried to make people believe that they needed her and they were nothing without her, which is a very common example of such abuse.
She never said that, and that's...
She didn't need to.
That's what she was... I'll give her a due. She's fucking smart. She's a smart bastard.
Well, until she gets caught out.
When was the next time? And then...
There was Goster.
I didn't really speak... Oh, no, there was a time before that. There was... When was it? It was twice within the space for a week. That was. She just picked me up and dropped me whenever she wanted, and I was like...
It was like a toy. It was like a
Yeah.
little kid in a fucking doll.
So, didn't speak to her all over Christmas, because people drift over Christmas. Didn't speak to you over Christmas. Didn't speak to TN, Martha,
spoke
Nathan. Not really. But like,
Brief. We didn't really. We didn't really know each other that well at that time.
I only became close with everyone once.
It was Dublin, really.
Yeah, and once this came to an end. So once we came back from Christmas, there was something different with her. At this point, she had a boyfriend. Can I
No.
just say? No, not say.
Oh, okay.
Just say that she had a boyfriend. So she,
Who she also.
as far as I know, she never hit him.
As far as you know. However, she also. She was very unfaithful. At the same time, and from what he told us, never ever took his problems and issues seriously.
So everything seemed not all right because I always remembered what would happen. I'll be honest, she didn't hit me a lot, which is why I've never really considered it to be. Do you know what I mean?
Abuse.
Like, yeah.
I can understand.
There were
that.
times where she did it where no. There were a lot of times where there were a lot of times, but they weren't, where she did hit me, and her excuse was because you pissed me off. Because you need to learn.
That right there, because you need to learn. That ain't right.
And it's just like, yeah, fine, whatever. Just,
She'd almost beaten you into submission at this point to a degree.
Yeah. So the next time was it after the podcast? No, it was still before the podcast the first time. Or was it?
The first time what? The first time in public?
The first time was just outside in uni. And what was it? It was the day before, I think, my girlfriend broke up with me because it was the day of the second TM party. Do you remember that?
I wasn't there, but yeah. I remember.
And I went with Martha to because she needed to get something from her flat and then come back for because we were going to go and get food. And I can't for the life of me remember what I did. But she just out of nowhere, bam, all across my fucking ear, down here. My face was ringing for a good 20, 30 minutes. And Martha had
proper smack there.
Yeah, proper smack. Martha, she walked off, didn't drag me away, but like, the colour in my face went, because I was like, so it wasn't really like, not a one-off, but like, she
it's
really
happening
doesn't.
More and more.
It's happening more and more. She clearly doesn't care who sees it as well, because it's like, I'm a girl, I can do whatever the fuck I want. I can hit you, and you're going to do fuck all, and you're going to fucking take it. So I walked off with Martha, and I didn't speak for about, again, 20 minutes, because I was just so shaken.
The week or so after it happened as well, you were
I'm not even. I'm not even.
abnormally quiet.
No, I'm not even crying. I fucking bawled my eyes out when that happened.
I remember it was just.
You saw how bad.
I've seen it multiple times. I've seen it when we came out of Snobs, and I basically had to tell you stop because it's not. She isn't fucking worth the tears.
So.
And you know, this was like after. I think
everything.
This was after everything had happened, and then she even tried, blatantly tried to ruin a night out for him, and unfortunately succeeded. And that was one of many cases.
She's ruined a lot. She has ruined a lot. So the next time was... There were 3 big occasions I'll talk about, this being the last one, because there are times where, like, it's happened, but nobody was there to see it, so it's literally just my word against hers. However, the 3 occasions I'm talking about, you were not present, but you were able to hear.
I was present, and then my other mate who was also there.
The first occasion, you could hear it on the phone.
Yes, I remember that distinctly. And we were in Martha's flat. We gave Ash a call, and we're all just having a joke. And now, just for anyone listening, just imagine you're on the phone to someone, you're talking, and then you just hear this.
It was shut the fuck up.
You said, yeah, like shut the fuck up. It's not good, is it?
And then it was get out, get out, get out. Like she was telling me to get out. Like I was the problem there.
It was horrible because we just heard this almighty crack, and then 5 minutes later, he's at the door shaking, and we're like, "What the hell happened?" And he just casually said, "It was like, oh yeah, she hit me." And the saddest part was, like he said earlier, he just blew it off as if it was nothing. And we were just like, that shit's not right. Then, fast forward to mid-February, we're in Gloucester Green. It's a...
No, it wasn't February. It was 2 days after.
The one where I was there was February.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
I know it'd been March because...
It wasn't March. It was in February 27th. I remember the exact day and everything.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
It was close to March. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was 27th of Feb. And I didn't see this happen. I mean, I was fucking mortal at this point, I will admit.
I wasn't that drunk on this night out because it was a couple of days after the breakup. So the last 2 instances were Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Broke up with on Saturday, and had to try and deal with it in the past couple of days. Where it wasn't a long relationship, but you know what I mean. If it happens,
yeah.
You don't just get over it overnight. So I didn't want to drink that much because I knew I'd get upset. So I was sitting down talking to Jordan.
That's my pal,
Jordan Anderton, because I don't see him a lot, and he didn't really know what's going on. So I was like, oh yeah, it's
You just sort of outlined it, really.
Yeah, like just we broke up, and you know it happened.
Because it was the first time and I felt so bad because it was the first time he'd been out in Birmingham with us. It was the same with JK.
And we were just speaking proper, like, all right. And then you came on, going, "Are you all right? Like you look a bit out of it." It's like, yeah, I'm just talking to Jordan. We'll come and see you in a bit. And then
you just never came back.
As soon as you walked away, I just hear screaming and fucking scratching, punching, slapping, kicking. And to this day, like, you know when things go in a blur, but you know it happened. Like, there was no reason for it. I just looked up to Jordan and immediately had tears in my eyes, and I walked outside and I couldn't breathe.
I remember seeing the state you were in after it.
It was just...
But it was then the fact that she brought on the crocodile tears and made out as if it was your fault.
It was the fact she went, "Oh, you've told everyone I'm an abusive friend." I was like, I don't need to tell anyone everything.
You didn't say a word.
There are 3 times...
There are witnesses.
...that people have seen you do this. Like, I accepted the slaps because they weren't an attack. But this time she was out to hurt me. And I don't know. I think it's
The thing with that one was it was just over nothing and out of nowhere.
it was just it baffled me that somebody I cared about so much just thought that they had the power to do something like that. And again, I didn't speak for the rest of the night because I was like,
You were just shaken.
and we spoke after, and she was like, "You've made everyone seem like I'm an abusive friend," and I was like, "I've not made you
Which
seem
he
like
hadn't.
anything."
I want to point out for the record, he didn't say a word.
I've always spoke about this girl with
Ridiculous fucking hype.
praise, with the highest of praise.
You know, even when it was obvious to him. I mean, this is where it sort of interlinks in with my friend. She would always defend this lad and say, "Oh no, he's all right. Really, he just gets a lot of bad press." It was a mirror image with you and her.
And then she went, "Look, we're going back to see everyone now. Now you put a fucking smile on because I want everyone to think I'm happy." And I just walked off.
See
I was
that
like,
right there? More of the illusion. I was like, "Don't you dare make me look fucking bad." No,
I never got a sorry for that. Never for any of
I
it.
don't think you ever will. And I don't remember ever, after everything she did to you, and this is what Ash has spoken about here, ladies and gentlemen. This is only a handful of examples of a good 6 months worth of torture. And he has never received, nor will he probably ever receive, a genuine apology for any of it. And if it were me, even if an apology did come along, I wouldn't accept it, because in my eyes you can't rectify that. Like that'll last a lifetime. Which brings me to Paige.
One last point as well. I never would have spoke about it if two things recently would have happened. One being this story coming out. And, well, Dom, as you know, what's happened within the past 2 weeks. I never would have spoke about this to this person. I couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to go, by the way, this happened. This is a thing, and it's affected me. This is me telling that person because I just can't bring myself to do it.
As much as kicking out at 3 is, mainly just, just 3 guys will analyze and take the piss out of wrestling, and anything that happens, we don't really give a shit. Ha ha ha. There are some instances such as this where we need to seriously address this, because it's pretty much a matter of life and death. Which brings me to my final point on this. Now, this is not, for a moment right now, this is not kicking out at 3 addressing the Paige issue. This is Dom Sweeney and Ash Quilter, just the people and friendly strangers, directly addressing Soraya Jade Bevis.
Or anyone else going through.
Or anyone else going through or has gone through a similar situation. Get out while you can. Because this kind of thing, like I've said, is a matter of life and death. Now, Paige, I would call you Soraya, but it's just easier. Everyone knows her as Paige. We still don't know how true this is, but from what we can gather from all the material we've been given, you're in fear. And understandably so. This guy seems untouchable. What you need to... Now, if you stay with him, there is a chance that we could have a suicide, if not a killing. Because my friend pretty much tried to end everything because of someone like Mr. El Patron. I don't want to see that happen to anyone. I don't want to hear of it happening to anyone, because it's probably the worst fate I can imagine at this moment in time. Now, if you leave, regardless of whether or not you only got married this year, yes, it's a divorce. Yes, he may take things from you regardless. But you'll still leave with your life, and you'll still leave being able to rebuild. And I'm saying that in reference to both your life and what was and still should be a very promising professional wrestling career. You were one of the best when you were in WWE. Then you met him, and it went downhill. Now, I've seen this guy at a show before. As a wrestler, I find him entertaining. As a person, I feel like he's a bit of a dick. And that's me putting it very lightly right now. So, once again, all I have to say, get out while you can, because yes, you may lose out either way. But you get out, but getting out is damage limitations. You will leave with your life, you will leave with your health, and you'll leave with something that can be rebuilt. Now, you've had a lot of bad luck. Everyone knows that. With the tape, yes, admittedly, we did make fun of the tape. But this is a whole other kettle of fish. So, Saraya, if you're hearing this, and anyone else who is currently going through this, or knows someone who's currently going through this, you either just get yourself out now. I don't care what it takes. Get out now while you still can, and before it's too late. Before you end up taking your own life. And if you know someone going through this, for the love of God, guide them away. Because it's your duty as a friend and as a decent human being to save someone from this. Because I don't care what kind of quarrels you have with a person. Nobody, no innocent person deserves to have to endure this. So, Paige, please save yourself.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of whole lake, kicking out of dreams, proudly presents to you the WWF Tag Team Champions of the world! The Road Dogg, Don Sweeney, the Bad Ass Cooler, the new... Oh my God! That was perfect!